All right, we're getting ready to fold the upper edge of the bag to make the casing. We have to do this on both pieces, but this is how we're going to do it. First of all, you need a seam gauge, you need some pins, and you need a little wooden ruler. You should have your fabric lying face up, so I should be able to see the tape, and also the little folded flaps, folded and stitched flaps should be facing up. I'm going to start, first of all, let's take a look at the ruler. We want to make sure that this is at the 1/2 inch mark, so place the slider halfway between the 1 inch mark and the beginning, and make sure that little point is right next to the line there. Then with my seam gauge, I'm going to go to one of the ends and fold the fabric towards me, making sure that that's exactly 1/2 inch. Put my pin in one end, and you should be putting these pins in perpendicular to the edge, or as best possible as you can. Then I'm going to go down to the other end. Again, I'm going to measure, put my pin in right next to all of that heavy stuff because that's hard to pin through. Put a pin in the middle. In and out of the fabric, one halfway between those two. I'm just going to finish this edge since I'm here. Measure halfway between those two. Put a pin in and out, and then one more right here. Just like when we did the pocket, you should end up with about 9 pins. Halfway across here. Put my pin in and out. Another one here. Again, always measuring to make sure that that is parallel across the top. We don't want to have any waves in it. And then our last pin. Okay, that's what it should look like when it's pinned the first time. I'm going to flip this around this way because it's going to be easier for me to do. I'm going to put my fingers between or on 2 of the pins, and using my wooden ruler, I'm going to rub back and forth a few times to make a crease. If we did this with iron, we might burn our fingers because it's kind of a narrow space. We certainly are going to make the pins hot, and then they're going to be harder to take out. And also, unless you use a press cloth, you're going to scratch the bottom of your iron. Okay, so once I have that pinned all the way across, and I have pressed it with the wooden iron, I'm taking all the pins out. And if I have done this correctly, I should have a nice little crease all the way across the top. My next step then is to fold this edge up 1 inch to form the casing. So I need to take my seam gauge and set it at 1 inch. Make sure I'm right on that line. And then, just like always, I'm going to start at each of the 2 ends to pin. And because this is really thick right here, I'm not going to put a pin. I'm going to put it right next to, making sure that my pins are perpendicular. And I'm going to do this one. Put the pin in. And I want my pins starting on the side that is closest to the center of the bag. So the head should be on this side, not on this side. And I'm going to measure the middle. And put my pin in and out of the fold. Come over here to the middle, always checking to make sure that I have it exactly 1 inch. Check it. Pin it. Check it, pin it. Now, if you just kind of let it flop down there, what happens sometimes is this bows out on that side, and so this becomes more than an inch in here, and then that's going to show on the outside. So we need to check with our seam gauge, make sure it's exactly 1 inch, put that middle pin in, and then pin here, and then this last one we're going to pin right here. And if I have done this correctly, this should be 1 inch parallel all the way across the top, with the pins towards the center of the bag, the points of the pins towards the outside or top edge of the bag. Do this for both pieces. One will be the front, one will be the back, but this is your next step to do.